How? And how far must you back away from yourself to see yourself as the astronaut sees Earth from the moon? And how far is too far? And so I really set out with the idea of wanting to think about how a person could create that sort of distance, the distance that the astronaut has from Earth. How could a person, a poet specifically, do that in language with positive results, like clarity? One of the ways that I did that was I developed a conversation between an astronaut and a poet, and they talk back and forth throughout the book. And when I first posted the link for this reading, one person said that they really connected with the first poem in the book, which is the first of these astronaut and earthbound speaker dialogue poems. So I'm going to read that one. So this is for Amanda, who is not able to be here because she's working, but maybe she'll watch this recording later, and then, yeah. To the astronaut on impact. I understand. I do. I used to lie back flat against asphalt and take our moon through binoculars, hands steady as the dead's. I understand a planet is its history of impact, what gets ripped away and what gets left. The moon struck from here flickers one brilliant sigh, one small mouth stunned in the night, saying nothing of two bodies about to collide. Remember the way your legs dangled over volcanic rock, the sun pressing so heavy against the water we were forced to bow. There's no prayer now, just histories that can only be told, given distance and time. Can't you see from where you are how a target arches to meet the body cast into its moment of shared light? I understand the evidence is the catastrophe, to be defined. You chortled, you snored, you chewed this sky. So Tether is, as that prefatory poem suggests, a book of distances, and distance between people, distances that we create inside of ourselves, distances we create from other people. And they're all relative, you know, so it's sort of, in the book, I'm sort of exploring maybe a loss and then the ripples that sort of affect everyone around the person affected. And this poem is one that has a phrase that speaks to another poem. And so I wanted to try to think about how we could explore, or how I could explore, those distances and also those connections via like the structure of the poem. So white space, sometimes I'll use white space instead of punctuation. Occasionally there's a phrase in one poem that repeats later in another poem. And I just really was interested in how we gain a new perspective by looking at the same thing in a new place. So I thought I would read a couple of those that speak to each other. I'm sorry, this is a two-part poem, but I don't have a first numeric for the first part of the poem. I don't know why, I just did it that way. What have you? Down here, forever projecting. Signs for a sign for a woman who kisses against the knife, but no one sees her anymore. My son is the fist inside, the fist he's shaking at the rest of the world. When he first heard his popped heart homing by rote, even its hollow couldn't show him. Cage can also mean safe. Between us, clouds are being torn apart by hands we can't see or hold. Distance isn't the violent word we mean if objects are always already absent. What have you? What have you done makes more sense. What have you done for me lately doesn't make him laugh. What have I done, he wants to know. Him. One of two choices I made to hold change in the world. 2. What have you now? I accuse the puppy, and his boy responds, because desire, Mom, because hunger, as if he too could chew a couch cushion. I live here, with a head not made for hats in blizzard country, where I accidentally slam the shovel against the asphalt, and the dog barks and starts searching for the other him and the other me, as if another us could be somewhere else, where we sound better, happier, full. My son says because desire, hunger, 15 years already on earth, this great gift he's certain we have wasted and can never repair. Words mean worse than nothing if we're thoughts, unable to share pain and wonder. What have you now to say, mother? I ask myself as I shove snow from an end to an edge of dirt, bracing myself to throw a language so old. What have you? Taunting me. The puppy arching, choking on a chunk of anything. And I reach for a treat from my pocket to dislodge it, thinking, good boy sounds so much like goodbye. So of course, there are a lot of ways that people create distance inside themselves, ways that are not healthy. And of course, setting out to write a book wherein I tried to discover through language how one might create distance from the self in order to gain clarity, I find myself in the very difficult territory of realizing all of the ways that I have and others have created this distance: addiction, sex, infidelity, you name it. We do it all the time, and it affects everyone around us. And so this is one of those poems. No one else came in, right? Cool. Of course, I need to believe in love. When my youngest son says he cannot fall asleep without his girl because he's 18, and the word Xanax is a foreign planet populated by palindromes in eternal Ouroboros, and my son can no longer sleep on Earth. Of course, nothing I say will make sense. Not the weight of the heart he's dug, dull-knifed from his chest and left on a filthy picnic table in the park where he lives, swinging days into oblivion, chain links digging into the thinning meat of his fists. Not unlike when he was too boy-eyed to see clouds show us so many ways to shape shift, dying without dying. It's a really happy book. Sorry. I guess I'll just read one more poem. I forgot to start my timer because I was all flustered from all of the technological stuff I mishandled. So I hope it's okay that I'm going to read one more. Because it's the poem that has the line that speaks to the line from What Have You. So there's a whole section devoted to infidelity, because why shouldn't there be, really? And so this is one of those poems, and it uses the classic Dear John letter. And I feel like I don't need to explain to any of you here what a Dear John letter is, but you know, like the classic breakup letter. So anything else you should know about this one? Nope. Anyway, thanks for listening, sharing these poems with me. The last poem that I'll read. Dear John, you must know, is not a simple phrase written on one of two bombs I can't stop dropping inside me. That's all she wrote, is another way to say, I would rather live with my burning than sleep with my dead. Keep putting your hand against my chest. Even if I refuse to speak words, you plead, convinced I could lead any man to dance. I need to tell you the truth. I'd rather breathe my burning than love my dead, but I'm trying hard to pretend I don't dream of pirouetting into enemy fire. I might lie in this bed forever binging the leftovers and never realize I'm not like the shut-in who dies alone with no one to check her, animals that will certainly eat her. I am her. I am the daughter who once taught a neighbor girl how to shove someone to the ground by repeating the move on her over and again, though I never showed her how to keep her footing. This, dear John, is to say the reason you shouldn't love me now is the reason you would have overlooked me then, when you were already wise enough to know the world held its knife to your throat and it was everything worth kissing against. Thanks.